Welcome back, everyone, to the Marmoris Rainbow Open Season 4 Midnight Division. Tonight we have a great matchup for you guys. It's going to be Imperial Phoenix Cerberus versus Paradise Aegis. I'm Sax Block, and here today I am joined by
Mido. Happy to be here.
It's going to be an exciting match. Teams are in the lobby getting set up right now, so we should have a fun time as we usually do. While the teams finish up setting up their lobby, let's get into the teams right now. So, starting out with Paradise Aegis, we have Tony, Brickwall, Hawk, Budget, Sabretooth, and Lumiere.
Take a look over at Cerberus. We have Mecha, King Bjorn, RGB Mom, Uncle Tone, Clopia, Puffles, and Shepular.
As usual, the map pool that everyone is familiar with. Just about the same as it has been every week for Swiss rounds. First map is going to be the Lijiang Tower, starting for that control. After that, we'll be going to Hybrid and then Flashpoint after that as well. So Mido, you're new here to Marmoris, first time casting on stream. Welcome. What are you most excited about for this match?
I'm excited to see kind of how the tanks want to go about it. I mean, tank play right now is a little bit all over the place. You can see a lot of the Zarya, especially right now in like open queue or just like in that ladder role. And then meanwhile, you look at some of the pro games. Sometimes you could see the Hazard. We've seen the Ramatra getting played as well. Hammond, Winston. So right now, I like that the tanks are a little bit all over the place because that kind of leads the rest of the lineup for their team to kind of swap around in themselves a bit. So I'm just excited to see what everybody's kind of got cooked up.
Yeah, definitely. I know previously I've seen Cerberus and Paradise play as well. I know Paradise, I've seen them run Zarya comps, Orisa comps. I've seen them on the Winston and Diva as well before too. It does look like Paradise is going to ban Rein as their hero ban for this map. Still waiting on the Cerberus map ban, so we'll see what they're going to decide on that.
I like the great thing about a Ryan ban is it's a lot of people's comfort pick. It's somebody who's always been really good in the meta. At least most of the time, there's only been very few times where Ryan has been like terrible trash, do not play him. So being able to get rid of something that may be a little bit more of a comfort pick and something that would allow you to be a little bit more brawly as well. Maybe that's kind of the thing they want to counter there, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. As we're talking about that, Cerberus actually did just ban the Wu Yang. Wu Yang, very meta recently. We see brand new here this season. The season is about to end in the next 5 days, I believe, 4 days. But upon release, Wu Yang has kind of been a mainstay for most competitive teams here, whether it's in OWCS or the rest of the Face It League, and even here in the Marmoris Open, Rainbow Open. We've seen a lot of Wu Yang. I don't think I've seen a match where a team hasn't played Wu Yang yet, like at least once on any map. So that's a pretty big pick because the Wu Yang can definitely benefit the team. The ultimate to stun your enemies as your teammate gets close. It's kind of almost a guaranteed kill if you use it right.
Absolutely, and I mean the great thing about Wu Yang as well is you're able to output massive amount of damage and healing. On top of that, you can get yourself into some really like weird positions that other characters just can't find themselves in because of the way those projectiles work. So I mean, like you're basically, as long as you kind of know your angles and know how to move around your shots, you're going to be able to output so much damage without them ever being able to hit you back.
Yeah, definitely. We are going into the map here. Lijiang Tower. I believe this is Gardens to start because we have Gardens. That is the sub map.
Ready for battle.
Just as we talked earlier, we actually see Paradise Aegis. For now, starting out on that Zarya comp, we see a Roadhog comp coming out from Imperial Phoenix Cerberus as well too. So should be exciting here as we get into it.
You notice, being able to have that Symmetra as well right off the rip. I don't know if they're just going to hold on to the Symmetra, just get a fast spawn, and then maybe they swap over to something like a Tracer that can also just kind of get back into the fight quick, or if they keep that, go on the point with that Symmetra, and you're going to have two very powerful beams probably here. That Roadhog's also going to be doing a bit of damage. It's going to be a tough one, I feel like.
definitely. We see both teams kind of going down main on that bridge area. We see the Tracer from Paradise coming on the back end there. RGB Mom is going to take out Sabretooth here to start. Tracer having that recall pop as Cerberus turns around and looks at them and tries to take this point control here, but we do see Shapeweaver go down to Brick Wall.
Yeah, I mean, right now you can see Cerberus were doing a pretty good job staying together as a team. However, all the different angles that were being had there by Aegis allowed them to just put through so much damage so quickly, and it seems like their target predation was just like right on the money. Everybody seemed to be firing at the same person, being able to get the first couple of picks in that fight, and then just continue to be able to take over that point.
Definitely. Right now we see Cerberus looking to maybe go into that back room, so they're trying to push out Hawk there on the Tracer. Definitely a good strat there, as the Tracer left on check can, you know, give them a lot of problems here if they don't play it right. But I think the main thing I'm concerned about here is Cerberus doesn't really seem to have a lot to be able to deal with kind of the Brig and Zarya matchup here. Those bubbles and the boops, as we just saw there, can be very detrimental to being able to rotate, especially if you're not quick enough there.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a grounds for maybe making some kind of swap, and it seems like that is what's going to happen here. Could be matching up with the Zarya. Looking at the rest of this, I mean, I feel like the team competence entirety outside of that should be able to do okay. The Genji is going to have a tough time trying to find any targets, really, just because of the mobility with everybody, or just the pure like tankiness and self-sustain that some of them can have, like Brig and that.
In terms of ults, we do see Akioto, they're going to pop their ult, but they do fall off the map in the process, but Paradise is no problem. They're able to clean both RGB Mom and Shape up real quick. Mecha's going to be forced to get out here a little bit, and Cerberus is just going to have to wait a little bit longer and regroup here. But that is kind of a big ult. They only lost 2, and it was right in their spawn. Granted, they don't have any point control yet, so they'll definitely be rushing to try and get some point control if they can. I think it's going to be determined on how well Mecha can do their energy management, but we do see a nano coming out onto RGB Mom as well for Cerberus.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to matter here at this point. You can see the orbital ray coming in, giving out so much damage, and that damage is all being dealt very, very fast. I mean, that was a good way to kind of, you know, take this next fight as Cerberus were coming in, because that fight before, that was a good call, being proactive, using that Zarya ultimate, and just making sure that they don't get another good fight in. You don't allow them to build too much more ult charge, and, you know, I feel like it is because of that last fight, they were able to hold on to a few of those ults, pop them all at the same time, and just absolutely obliterate there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a great play by Paradise. Very strong showing here just for this first point. Going in the control center next, this is it can be a bit more favored into the Zarya comp, so I think Paradise is probably going to be sticking to their comp that they've been running. Cerberus maybe looking to make swaps, so we do see them on the Winston to start here, so maybe looking to trade some backlines here in this case, but we'll see how that goes for them as Aegis makes their swaps or adjust their comp as they need to.
4, 3,
Pulling out the Bastion here, that is not going to be something Cerberus wants to see. If they do end up going for that dive to try to get that, try to get a couple of those backlines, it's going to be really tough. And you can see now, I mean, again, that's still a very tanky team. You're looking at Uncle Tone. Really, the only person you're going to get like a very solid chance at one-shotting here is that backline that's just super far away. They might have the shield up or just be too far, so that's going to be a little tough going through here. And now a quick take coming out to Vegas.
Yeah,
It seems like, yeah, they're going to be able to take a point.
Yeah, exactly what Paradise is probably looking to do. Wait for that monkey to get low, pop the Bastion turret, just press W there. That's it's a really good, you know, way to shred the enemy tank real quick here. I think something interesting though is actually the comp that Paradise is running is actually an OWCS comp that we saw recently in the start of start of playoffs end of the Swiss play there. I forget which team it was, but they ran this Zarya Bastion comp here. And just absolutely pulled out kind of a reverse sweep almost. Looks like Akioto is seeing Puffles here in a fantastic hiding spot behind the bamboo poles here. Really great win for Puffles there.
Hey, you know what? Take the wins where you can get them. That was a crazy fight there starting that off. I mean, Brickball being able to jump in the middle of that entire team. The Zarya Bubble's getting ready to go, and here they are doing it again. The speed coming through, running through that little portal that she's able to put down there, and just running in again on the team. There's not really much that they can do here on the side of Cerberus. They're kind of just going for a little bit longer range picks, which isn't necessarily what you want with most of that team comp. because they, as soon as they do start getting in close, they just immediately notice that and runs it in.
You see both ults coming out from Akira and Brick Wall here. Great use of their grab bombardment there. Unfortunately, didn't get too many there, so no 5k for the Bastion this time, but they did get the picks needed. They're still holding up at this front spawn door here. And like you're saying, it's going to be really hard for Cerberus to get some picks here, especially when they're opting for the more longer range picks. It's really hard to do that here in the spawn section here. We're going to see a Hawk popping that tectonic shot. It's going to get Puffles right into that spawn door, unfortunately, with the assist from Brick Wall there. But unfortunately, the situation is looking pretty dire for Cerberus here as they near the end of the first map.
I don't know if anybody from Cerberus could be able to make it to the point in time. Ticking, it's going, and no, just not quite. That's a quick 2-0 starting us off here for Paradise Aegis.
Definitely play the game coming in here. I mean, there's some great plays, but it looks like Brickwall is going to take the cake here on the Soldier. So let's see what they got cooking.
Solid first shot, and yeah, this is the last fight on that first map. You can see just all that damage being able to have through with those ults and some nice shots landing too. Keep that one in your highlight reel. You got that. That was a solid one.
Yeah, definitely. Coming up next, next map type is going to be the hybrid here. Double checking that map pool here because I always forget every week without fail what's in the map pool.
Hey, I don't remember either.
Players as the choice from Eichenwald, Kings Row, and Hollywood here. As usual, losing team will be picking the map here. So this will be Cerberus's map pick. Honestly, I think if they're trying to be strategic about this map pick, they're probably looking to pick a map that Paradise might have a little bit more trouble running that Zarya comp on. Which, I mean, in terms of the three that we have here, I almost feel like none of them, like, dissuade that comp.
No, none of them. Yeah, you're right. None of them necessarily dissuade it. I think Eichenwald is probably going to be your best bet because just there's so many more open parts. Hollywood, that starting point, whether you're defending or attacking, of course, it being able to capture that gets pretty close quarters at times. That second lane, though, that's when the Zarya is probably going to have to be swapped. I do not want them to go to Kings Row. Kings Row, Zarya is just going to dominate on. That should be their last choice.
Yeah, I agree, especially with that first point. That I mean, to begin with, that choke in first point is already a really tough choke for teams to push through if the other team's really good at defending. As we saw, Paradise had no problem holding the spawn there at the end of Lijiang there. So I agree. I don't think they should go the King's Row if they are looking for a strategic map pick. But you know, if they do make it past that choke, I mean, the first point is it's wide open. The high ground has lots of cover, so it won't be hard for Hawk and Brickwall to just kind of rotate around from Cerberus there. So I don't think it's going to be the ideal pick. So I definitely think Eichenwald is going to be their best bet. Again, that first choke there on first will be the hardest to push through, especially if we have the Zarya Bastion being run with Venture. That's the name. Venture.
Little Venture.
Yeah, that'll be a hard choke to push through, but I think once they get it, and if they get that first point, I definitely think that I guess, for lack of a better word, the streets phase on Eichenwald will be really beneficial for them.
Yeah, and they tried running, the Hanzo and the Ash at some point, so they're a little bit they feel maybe a little bit more comfortable or maybe adept with those marksmen. So yeah, I mean that's another good reason that they may want to play into Eichenwald because of just so many long sight lines that give you opportunities to find those long range picks, especially if they continue playing Hanzo, Ash. Maybe we even see a Widowmaker come out. I don't know how popular that is for people right now, just being honest, but. I mean, the other two, you're still going to get plenty of value out of them,
Mm-hmm.
no matter the scenario.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we also still don't have the hero bans yet too, so it is possible we can see Cerberus ban Bastion. Maybe that puts them up a map, but they won't be able to ban Bastion again for the next map type, which is Flashpoint. They'll likely Bastion on Flashpoint, probably not likely to be run there. But I mean, well, teams kind of figure out what they're going to ban here. I think it might be time for a quick break. For those of you just joining us, we are streaming currently the Marmoris Rainbow Open Season 4. Midnight Division is Paradise Aegis versus Imperial Phoenix Cerberus. Um, and we will see you back in a moment with some more Overwatch fun, some more Overwatch action, some great plays, some play of the games. Hopefully some good pushes through chokes and whatnot and street phases. But we will see you back here in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the Marmoris Rainbow Open Season 4 Midnight Division Imperial Phoenix Cerberus versus Paradise Aegis. I'm Saxoblock, and I am joined here by...
Mito yet again.
We're back. We got the map picks. Next map is going to be the King's Row here. We were just talking a little bit before how this is probably the one map we probably didn't want to see Cerberus play. Just due to the choke, the open first point, and the streets phase, it just really benefits that Zarya comp that they're running with the Bastion. But I mean, speaking of Bastions, we do see we had bans come through. Cerberus banned the Bastion, and in response, Paradise banned the Lucio.
And you know, I understand just banning the Bastion because that was really like a thorn in the side that second round. But you think back to the first round, they didn't run Bastion. They ran the Sojourn, they ran the Tracer, and it worked just as good, to be honest. So that's going to be, it's going to be a little bit tougher here. Maybe they're just going to be less intimidated because they don't have that Bastion that they could bring out. Maybe they can try to do something now that the Ryan's back in play, but we talked about that a little off cam, and I know you said you think they're still going to run some kind of Zarya variation.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Paradise play almost every team in the division right now, and I think almost always they've ran a Zarya of some sort. I mean, they're very versatile in the comps they can run. I've seen them run other things as well, and they do equally as well in these other comps as well. So but I mean, it's King's Row. I think it's just going to be another Zar comp, to be honest. So I mean, we'll see here going into it. Teams are assembling their heroes, so hopefully Cerberus with that Bastion pick will be able to make some more headway into first point streets phase than they were able to make on Lijiang there. But I mean, in that case, knowing that the Bastion is banned, what do you think Cerberus needs to do here to make things work?
That's actually a tough ask. I think we just have to see what they both run out with first here, and looking at how the defense and offense has got to set themselves up. We have a similar thing right now. I'm not trusting that ball's going to stay ball. That'll be back to Zarya. It's going to be a little bit more of the same, so I think maybe their best way that they can counter that is to stay as like close knit together as possible, try to keep themselves a little bit more survivable, or to just like stay as far away as possible. Let that tank be the one taking the brunt of the damage. But then you have to be careful because it's like as soon as that tank goes out, you have no protection whatsoever. So we'll see how it plays out. Basically, what I'm yapping about is I'm not exactly sure, but there's like 3 scenarios.
Paradise coming down the Zar comp again, but instead of the Bastion, they're running that Freya Tracer here. So I think they'll probably be definitely looking to take the high ground away from the Cerberus here, maybe using their Zarya as a distraction here. And just as I say that, exactly what they do is they immediately dive that high ground a little bit from range, budget there on the close range there. Both Shapular and Uncle Tone go down, Mecha's going to follow shortly after, and I mean, Paradise Aegis, they're going to start getting that progression up to the point here real quick.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate with that positioning there. They kind of kept themselves up on that far right high ground so they could see the Rhine to try to get some heals onto him. I think maybe instead he wanted to stay on that low ground, like towards that telephone booth, or maybe even towards his first choke that they're coming up to now that they've capped the point. You could have a little bit more of an opportunity to keep yourself out of cover, and we saw as well Mecha, unfortunately, trying to hit that pin, just barely clips the side of the wall there, gets stuck, so there wasn't much more that they could do after that. It was a little unfortunate, but you know, it's just going to be how they bounce back here.
Right now, going to the streets phase here. I mean, Paradise, or not even Paradise, Cerberus just losing Uncle Tone real early there. It's going to make it tough for them to keep holding. They're probably going to hold far back on these last couple corners here, though. We do see Paradise pushing Mecha here real quick as that choke is low. That is going to force the pin out here. And right now, Paradise just kind of free pushing that cart down the streets as well here. Keeping that aggression up just like they need to. We do see RGB Mom getting Brickwall pretty low, but Brickwall is able to get out, unfortunately, for Cerberus there.
I think right now something that could really be beneficial going up against Freya. The Bull is coming out here trying to look to find a target. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to. A nice headshot there onto the Tracer. RGB Mom's going to have to go ahead and make that recall to keep themselves up a little bit longer at least. And you know, they're still making headway here.
I forgot
what I was saying even.
Yeah, getting that pick on the budget here. Nice, almost I don't want to say a snowball, because I mean, they have to do it, but they are going to have a nano coming out from Puffles there onto, I believe it was Mecha that got nanoed there. They are going to get those picks onto Paradise, which is going to be really big, stopping that cart on this last corner here. So 4 minutes still on the clock, so they are going to have a tough defense here, especially with Paradise coming up on almost 4 of their 5 ults here. Only having used the Freya, they have almost everything they need for a real big play here. They have grab, they have full spawn, which for me it's probably the likeliest combo that's about to come out from them.
Yeah, it looks like Akioto trying to make their way up. And I mean, before the reason they weren't able to continue their push is because Akioto overextended. So hopefully they don't get a little bit too anxious again here and go too far in. But yeah, exactly what you said was going to happen. It looks like the grab into the pulse bomb. They find a pick onto Sabretooth and now onto Lumiere. So that's, you know what, 2 supports down. It's not quite even necessarily. However, there is some salvageability from this, I think.
Definitely. I think Paradise is probably going to get to that point here. Cerberus doesn't really have the numbers to be able to contest both the Freya and the Zarya here. That looks like Mecha may be thinking about it, but decide to back off here. I mean, unfortunately for them, I hate to say it, but I feel like they're just kind of getting snowballed a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And unfortunately, here RGB Mom is, you know, kind of staggered herself here, trying to hide in the back line. I think they should have gone for that touch there. Maybe RGB Mom would be able to, you know, get that initial touch. They would have to turn around. Mecha would be able to walk up a little bit, and they'd stall it a little bit longer. But I mean, with 4 minutes on the clock right now, I don't know how much that really would have helped in the end.
Seen the Freya come out from the wall. Doesn't seem to hit anyone there on the side of Cerberus there. But we are going to see Nano come out from Lumiere onto Akioto here. It is going to get real aggressive onto the back line of Cerberus here. Health is getting low. Just hit the really good sleep there. Shapeler trying to boop Akioto off, just barely missing. But it is potential for a fight win between these 2 supports. But Puffle's going down and Shapeler finishing off Akioto. But too late for Cerberus there. Paradise is still pushing here. But that is going to be a big pick. Getting the energy off of the Zar here early on is going to be real big. The Zar does have this perk, so it just almost keeps her consistently charged all the time. So we'll see how that lasts, how long that lasts for them. Hopefully they can make some plays happen here.
Excited to see what's going to happen. Looks like the tidal wave is making its way through here. And again, the Dragon's going to be able to come through. It looks like they're a little bit cut off here. Akioto, I think they're going to have enough time to really focus in on them. Able to make it out of their Mecha super low, picks up that health pack, has to run back. I mean, the Hammond's good. You're going to be able to get on that back line. However, with that, like, with the sleep dart, it's going to be really tough. You don't have anybody else that can follow you that much. However, I didn't notice this RGB bomb swapping over the Genji. That's going to be a big aid here. Tone with a nice headshot. And you know what? I think this is going to be able to allow Cerberus to kind of, you know, take a bit of a breather here at least.
Yeah, I think they've almost, honestly, maybe a caster curse, but they might have found their comp that they wanted to be running here. They're having a really good time on the defense right now, making it really difficult for Paradise to be able to push around this corner here, or just like fully get around the corner to push the cart.
That's exactly how it feels right now. I mean, you're just able to weave back in and out with the Hammond. Mecha able to, again, be able to get out just in time. Budget finds the first pick here on Uncle Tone, and Shapeler close to following. I mean, like, the engage, the planning that went through there from Aegis was very well done. You could see that very easily. That ult was used to grab right away. Everybody knew exactly when they were going to go in. They knew who they were going to target and clean that up very quick with a little less than 2 minutes on the clock. So they were able to hold for a solid 2 there at the end to make the time not too much, but that's still going to be a big ask to make it all the way to 3rd with time on the clock.
Yeah, definitely. I think having that 2 minutes is definitely a very good defense. Time left considering how the map started there. Paradise having that 5 minutes going into the second phase is really big for Paradise, not so great for Cerberus, but they did a great job at that last point defense. Though they lost it overall, I think with this comp swap up that they had coming out at the end of the 3rd point there, they might be in a good position to do some damage here on their attack.
Ready for battle.
Seems like they want to run a similar comp on their attack as they did on their defense for Cerberus. They got the Rhine, Brig, Hanzo, Sim. Not sure how long the Sim will stay, but I mean, you could, you know, TP up to that high ground really quickly and kind of catch them off guard. Taking a look over, it looks like pretty similar thing. They're playing their offense on their defense for Aegis for the most part. Budget was Budget on the Genji before? Yeah, Budget was on the Genji there. So yeah, basically the exact same.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing Cerberus is probably struggling in right now is keeping up the tempo they need to compete with Paradise. That Lucio ban is really big for them, especially if they're not going to run the Juno here. The Juno not really, other than the speed ring, probably not going to be able to do much in terms of damage at least. Killing for the team could do a lot, but you do see Budget on the flank here. Puppets will get very low. Bubble coming out from Akioto here. We are going to see RGB Mom getting purpled. Akioto is going to shift out RGB Mom and Puppets go down both to Budget on the dash. Max will go down shortly after here, giving the chase from Budget. Budget getting that quick 4K, I believe it was. Maybe 4K. So definitely a great play and a great nade coming out from Lumiere as well. That's definitely a big factor in how Cerberus fell so fast there. But just like you said, definitely looking the CP onto the high ground, trying to make the quick rotations that they can, but really hard without any speed coming out from the supports. Puffles going down early again here to Akioto. Cerberus is going to get aggressive onto Akioto here, try and prevent some more picks coming out there, but Akioto is staying persistent and holding there. Getting low, Mecha almost enough to take them out, does get the pick eventually here. We'll see if Cerberus can make the best of this and push forwards.
I mean, it's going to be a little bit tough here. You know, they're able to take out that tank, but still so much damage coming through. They have a couple different angles they have to worry about as well here. As Budget on that Genji is keeping Shacular occupied. That's a pretty solid nade there. Mecha having to go back over to the point. I don't think they'll be able to cap it off this. Now they're just waiting to get in there. Sabertooth finds a kill on the Uncle Tone after a solid amount of burst here coming from Budget, and now Puzzle's the next to fall. I don't think they're going to be able to sustain themselves. At least they're able to get one tick, but I think now is just you die as quick as you can. It looks like Budget's going to be able to start helping out, finishing up, cleaning that fight. 2 minutes still remain on this clock here as the Cerberus claim that first tick. Something that I think would be nice to see here, they were able to burst down Akioto super quick. I think if you were to swap maybe RGB Mom and put her onto like a Mei role, be able to put up that wall and try to take out Akioto even quicker, because they have kind of been, you know, I think that's like that little Achilles heel they might be able to find. They're overextending, they're being super confident, they're using up those bubbles, and that's when they should be going in. RGB Mom finds a good kill onto the counterpart, however, Budget goes down, so they're going to be at a bit of a man advantage for
See the ult coming out from Brick Wall, does hit Puffles, but Puffles does hit the sleep first, and it's the pick onto both Brick Wall and Lumiere. Archimon picking out Lumiere. That is going to allow Cerberus to get the final 2 ticks onto that point, starting them in the street space here. Just under 4 minutes to go, so if they can keep this space as well as get that cart push, I think they'll be in a very good spot for, you know, potentially matching that three points of push here.
Absolutely love watching teams, you know, get that first point and then immediately they are rushing down. They're taking as much space as they can, because that's exactly what you should be doing here in this scenario. You're going to be able to allow your one cart sitter to just continuously push that up, and you just have to hold that 1 point for as long as you can. It's just free push. You get past that first choke, and I think they should be able to probably get it to this corner. Then they're going to have a bit of an issue here. There's plenty of ults on both sides, so this next fight might be a little bit more scrappy, and a nice dash here to take out Budget. Ooh, a pause.
Quick pause coming in here while the teams figure out what's going on there. While we wait for that the comeback up, we'll come back to our beautiful faces. Looks like Paradise might have had an unfortunate disconnect here. So will they have that chance to figure that out? Hopefully they'll be able to return quickly. I know on our last match there's a lot of DCs going on from one of the teams. Luckily, every time it happened, they were able to return quickly. But I mean, in that match, I felt like it was more of a detriment to their team. Unfortunately, you know, just losing that ult every time you lose that DC, or every time you have a DC, you just lose all of that ult charge. You have to start back at 0, start back on your spawn. So, I mean, if you're Cerberus, it is a tournament, so take advantage of it while you can. But very unfortunate for Paradise. I hate to see those DCs come in through and just kind of hamper the competitive integrity of the match, I guess you would say.
Yes, quite. With competitive integrity, yes. Yeah, that is pretty unfortunate. I mean, Cerberus here, now that they know that that's not going to be an issue, they can be a little bit more aggressive. We saw Mecha has that Shatter up. So if Aegis tries to push up here and gets past his corner to try to take over that card again, I don't think it's going to be working out very well for them, as long as they're able to keep control on those bubbles and really get a good idea for when they will be coming up. The only worry I really have going into this next fight, where I think the advantage may go over to Aegis, is if there is over ulting on the side of Cerberus. If they're not quite communicating exactly right and they use all 4 ults basically back to back to back, maybe that does get them the point. However, their ult economy is then going to be tanked for that final push.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Cerberus, they have the 4 ults. They're coming up on the Genji Blade as well at 63%. On side of Paradise, also they've just lost any ult charge that Akioto has. But I don't think they had an ult quite yet, so maybe not too big of a loss other than being reset back to 0. They do have 2 ults, a third one coming up, and they're halfway to that 4th. So I agree. I think if Cerberus uses their ults here, in keeping their ult economy in mind, then I think they'll definitely be able to cap second here for sure, and probably make really good progress into the third. Though third will be challenging here as it is the closest to the enemy spawn, so Paradise will have a lot of opportunities to be able to contest, make swaps, and just kind of stall out the time here.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't really seen much of from Aegis is swaps, because it's really just been working out for them for the most part with the comp that they've been running. So if they do start getting that situation where it's like, okay, we need to stall, I'll be excited to see how they like to go about the stall. Are they going to pick the Hammond? Most likely, yes, but I also want to see, kind of how they go around playing that. Who else will be making those swaps? I'm sure someone on the DPS side, if you're going to get super close quarters and you're going to be going for a little bit of a stall brick wall, may want to swap off the Freya, just because everybody will be so close. If you're suspended in the air for too long, you'll probably get picked off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of stall, I see a lot of teams, I think they kind of default towards like a Ball Tracer or Ball Sombra in some cases. Looks like Paradise's tank is rejoining the match right now, so hopefully we'll be back here into the action very shortly here. But yeah, I feel like a lot of teams default towards like kind of a ball kind of stall comp, if that makes sense. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard because you kind of have to have really good target prio, but also still be on point, especially if you're in like an overtime timer. Just leaving for like even 1 second after a while can just lose you the match.
Yeah, that's something that you can see happen a lot if you're keeping an eye out for it. It's just those like little details that just don't quite happen to work out exactly right that end up costing a match somehow. And it's just, like I said, it's the smallest thing, this little butterfly effect almost sort of thing that can happen.
Definitely. Looks like teams are readying up, so we will be getting back into the action here in the next 5 seconds, which is very fantastic. So coming back into the action, Cerberus pushing on second point here of King's Row.
And Cerberus pushing up again, trying to take over that space. They're not going to want to overextend here. It seems like they call themselves out for it. They're like, okay, Mecha, back up. You can see they stay back a little bit more. Now this cart is finally coming around this corner. They can try to be a little bit more aggressive with where they're holding, but they still got to be careful. I mean, they're charging at Lucario very fast here. Every time they turn this corner, the Shatter comes through here, but a fantastic bubble just in time there to keep Lucario up. No one falls, and that Shatter gone.
Definitely, it's going to be really hard here. We do see the blade coming out from budget here. It is going to get one pick onto Puzzles right away. It does look like it's good. Mecha and RGB Mobs can go down from Sabretooth as well, looking to get Uncle Tone for that third here. It's going to be a very big ultimate for Paradise here, just completely halting that cart progress. Cerberus, they have 3 ults coming up here, so they can definitely make this work if they use them right, but they'll be down 3 ults if they have to use all 3.
Yeah, and it's a little unfortunate. I didn't see where Puffles used the ultimate. Maybe it was just to try to sustain the Rhine, or maybe they threw it onto the Genji to kind of try to get them delayed faster. But, you know, if they'd had that, that would have been a big help. That's a solid tidal wave there, and a Bola as well to follow that up. And it looks like that background's going to be taken out immediately there. That's a crazy combination they were able to pull off there with that Genji dash, with the tidal wave and then the Bola as well jumping in from the top. There wasn't really going to be much counterplay to that.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, looks like...
Yeah, looks like Akira might disconnect again, so the pause might be coming out again here. We'll see. I mean, it's really up to I think Aegis, because I don't think there's a rule that dictates a pause being forced upon DC. I could be wrong on that. It's been a minute since I had the read DC rules in a match. But it does look like Octo is going to get a headshot on the Sabertooth, so that's going to put down Paradise. The three players here. Cerberus is going to get aggressive, take advantage of not pausing here. So, I mean, we'll see how this goes, but likely what's going to happen here is Cerberus, you know, having the advantage of a tank over Paradise is going to get this point push and cap second here, is my prediction.
I mean, that's an easy way to do. You're already going to be up to fight the whole time, at least by one player, and then that being the tank is already just a huge advantage. It's kind of unfortunate that we're not seeing the pause, I feel like.
Yeah, we are going to see Undertone popping the Hanzo ultimate, but it's going to get picked by Budget. Budget going to get picked by Shepler in response here. Second point is going to be capped by Cerberus. They're going to start taking that space that they need here. I mean, Paradise didn't, despite being down on tank, they're doing a really great job at trying to hold their own here. And unfortunately, it's going to be really hard for them to break through this Rhine Show now that they don't have a Zara that kind of help pump in that damage, bubble their team, you know, avoid those picks coming out early from Cerberus here. Looks like we are going to have Uncle Tone on this high ground here. Dueling Budget. Budget is going to pull back a little bit. We're going to see Brick Wall popping that Frey ult. Doesn't hit anyone quite yet. We are going to see a Blade and Nano coming out from RGB Mom and Puffles as well here. Doesn't get anyone quite yet, but we are going to see Budget pop their own Blade as well. Looks like they're going to pick Uncle Tone real quick, get that Mega. Maybe they get RGB Mom as well here. Does get the pick. It is going to be a 4v1 now. Mecha is going to go down at the end here. So very well played by Paradise here, just being down their tank players still. And we have less than a minute on the clock here. So yeah, it's very likely Cerberus could cap, and that will put us in an overtime matchup here. I mean, from what we just saw, if Paradise keeps using their ultimates smartly here, I think it's very possible they could hold. We are going to see a Shatter coming out from Mecha, getting Brick Wall, and Budget doing a very nifty dash to the dodge.
Yeah, that's what I noticed immediately. I went, oh my, that blew my mind right there. That was a crazy amount of the reaction time. Brickwall making a swap over to Tracer. 22 seconds. They want to try to drain all the time off this clock as they can. Tidal Wave comes through here. Be able to give Tracer plenty of help to stay on this point a little bit longer here. 15 seconds, 14 seconds. Bomb finds the pick on the Sabertooth. Everybody's trying to stay on that point as long as they can. Uncle Tone finds another pick there. Mecha finds one as well. And then it looks like they are going to be able to cap at least with some time here, bringing their total up to 1 minute and Aegis up to 250.
Definitely an interesting matchup here. Yeah, I think definitely not pausing disadvantage for Paradise there, but I mean, it's very possible that their take may not be returning if they're having connection issues. It does happen, unfortunately. I hate to see it. So we'll
That's alright, just put me in. I got this.
Well, what the casters play tank matchup.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
I'll call where I am, and we'll just 1v1 on Ryan.
Wait, okay, alright.
Ready for battle.
Cook it.
I'm starting the lobby, don't worry. I mean, it feels like I can't even theorize like how teams would want to go about it just because they're already down. It looks like Budget's gonna have to swap over to the tank role here, so they at least have a tank, a DPS. Seems like maybe hanging out on the Genji again. Maybe they'll be back shortly. Maybe we just gotta play a little bit of the waiting game.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping maybe the pause would come out after that team fight happened. Is, you know, at least in the scrims, you know, if a player DCs, you usually just pause after the team fight. Same in tournaments usually too. So we'll see how this goes here.
There should just be free reign for them as long as they. I mean, with what they got, they kind of have a little bit of a waiting to poke, let the Rhine go in, do a bit of damage. Genji follows up the Hanzo, tries to find some poke, trying to get the hack through here, able to find the break pretty quick. Calling me going invisible again, finds himself in a good spot. A solid hack here on Uncle Tone, but Uncle Tone does not care. Uncle Tone able to hit 1, 2 headshots there, keep themselves up. Doing a solid job on that Hanzo right now to get those. So even though that they were down a tank, it looked like Aegis still had a pretty good plan. It just happened to be that one of the best Hanzo players was on the enemy team at that moment.
Definitely really well played by Uncle Tone there. You know, spectating brick wall there. I thought for sure Uncle Tone might have gone down there, but Puffle's doing a great job beating the support up. The heals pumping into Uncle Tone, and then Uncle Tone just hitting the headshots they need to hit. Very, very great for them. We are going to see the Sombra Genji duel come out. Looks like RG Bomb just barely escaped by the edge of their teeth. But yeah, I think honestly Paradise, if they save up 4 ults, they could just pop 4 ults on point and clear them in overtime. We'll see if Cerberus will allow that to happen. If they keep those early picks coming out and being able to support their team as they get dove on, I mean, they'll probably successfully push the streets here.
I think they find their first target here with Scapular. It'll take them down, and Puffle's next. Okay, so they've already taken out both supports. See, this is the great communication that you can see coming through from Aegis. Despite being down that tank, they still have someone that can take over that IGL. Unless it is someone that's not the tank that's the IGL, but normally it is. And yeah, able to just kind of run through them. They were able to find their targets one by one by one. A systematic takedown is what the kids are calling it these days, I think.
Definitely. Just like you said, that was very great communication. They knew how they need to adjust their plays. Being down that tank, they can't really frontline as much anymore, so they need to be very smart about the dives that they were going for. So just like we saw, they immediately went for Puffles as well as Scapular first, and then they focused on the DPS after that, and they finished Mecha off last. So that was a really great play by Aegis there. Cerberus only getting 1 point capped and halfway through that second. So 2 minutes 50 for Paradise. It is going to be tough, but I mean, if they keep up that communication and those smart dives like they just did, I think it's going to be a close match, surprisingly.
It's totally plausible. Brickwall playing that Widow, having that one-shot potential, and a Pharmacy coming through. I mean, they're playing, you know, something. They're playing characters that can be strong on their own, or they're playing a good duo that makes those two characters super strong. That Pharmacy. I'm excited to see the Sigma. I love Sigma. Sigma is my favorite character in the game for sure. So Mecha, I hope you can hit a crazy rock coming out here. And they have the Beekeeper skin on. Chef's kiss, Mecha. Chef's kiss.
3, 2, 1.
Looks like Cerberus having a great time here. I'll be curious to see if they try to send a rock straight into that Widow. But I mean, likely not, because they are in the spawn. So they probably will just start by holding this high ground here.
Now, they don't really have a fantastic answer to this Pharmacy. Really, the only hit scan is Puffles, and I'd be surprised if they're able to hit any of those shots consistently enough to where the kill comes through, either onto the Mercy or the Far, for that matter. Instead, you're going to be looking for, hopefully, Hanzo to hit a headshot onto one of them, and then be able to guard the body or move fast enough that you can just get back on top of things since the Mercy's going for a res.
Yeah, I think Paradise's goal here, unfortunately, Sabertooth getting picked by Mecha, or Qual getting picked by Uncle Tone here, but I think in the end, Paradise's goal is to try and get a lot of these angles onto Cerberus here, seeing if they can get one of those one-shots off from the Brick Wall Widow. But as I say, that they are going to swap back to Frey here. There's going to be a lot more burst damage to come out onto Cerberus here, especially anyone that high ground. We do see Scapular getting down to half health already. Uncle Tone is going to pick up Brick Wall pretty quickly here, so I think the biggest play for Cerberus in terms of this Pharmacy is that they're really just waiting for budget to land on the ground. That's when Farah is going to be at her weakest, and if budget doesn't play their jet fuel, correctly, they'll be going down real quick.
And we can see they're trying to play that high ground so they can still keep somewhat of an advantage there and not have to worry too much about in case they do run out of that jet fuel. I mean, they're trying to get a good rotate going on here, but we can see Puffles doing a good job themselves, going all the way through the top there, and Uncle Tone finding the pick again onto budget. So now, I mean, the good thing is with the Freya, that's another good target for their Mercy to hop onto. We can see there, however, that Cerberus is just going to immediately start walking in when they realize, okay, now we have a two-man advantage. Let's just keep it going, keep it rolling. Brickwall back on that Widow, trying to find a cheeky quick pick as they are running up and getting a little bit more aggressive, but the headshots coming through here. Brickwall getting low, but not going out.
Yeah, Paradise definitely in that very tough situation here. Yeah. 40 seconds left. I kind of hate to say it, but I feel like the win is going to go out to Cerberus here, just due to the tank DC. I'll be curious to see if they're going to continue on with more maps or if they'll just forfeit after. I mean, technically, they always have the option. The big Fire Barrage coming out, getting chased through their budget is going to go down to Uncle Tone again, but we are going to see the Mercy ult pops, Mecha pops to the Sigma, Ultimate as well, Brick Wall Sabertooth also going down here, Anendo coming out from Puffles onto Uncle Tone, and unfortunately for Paradise Aegis, I think that's going to be a map in favor of Cerberus here. Just 5 seconds left. They might have a chance to contest with the Tracer here, but it looks like Budget might have just missed that very important blink that needed to get around the corner, and Cerberus is going to take King's Row here.
Yeah, pretty solid, and especially at the end there, Puffles, she did a good job able to hit that sleep onto the Pharah. That was definitely going to get at least another kill after that barrage, or after the initial kill. See the play of the game here, Budget with the Nano coming through. He'll pick up 2 with 1 slash, dash, and another there with Uncle Tone, and then the shot onto the counterpart, RGB Mom. That was a pretty solid play of the game. I feel like they both did fairly well. Both teams, especially, you know, when we got to see a little bit more of the differences needing to be played here by Aegis because they were down that tank. You can kind of see how Cerberus was still kind of able to pay attention to what was going on and adapt to that. Puffles in particular was just catching my eye. That map having good rotates to stay on that high ground as far away from the far as possible, and then having that sleep dart ready in case that barrage were to come through, or maybe if someone else was able to make their way in as well.
Yeah, definitely. It does look like, fortunately for Paradise, Akioto is back, so we will have more maps going through. And so, currently 1-1. We'll see if Cerberus can maybe take this momentum they've got from this map and push it through onto Flashpoint, which is the next map type coming up here. We'll take a quick look at the map pool coming. I believe I do. Oh, I do have these backwards. Let's see.
We got backwards.
Yes, I should have Paradise winning Lijiang Tower, not Cerberus. There we go. Fixed it.
Okay.
My bad, everyone. But yeah, Flashpoint coming out next. We have all 3 Flashpoints back, including Atlas. It has been out for a while due to a bug, or maybe not even a bug, just I don't want to say poor map design, but just an unfortunate map design where there was just a hole in the middle of the map.
Yeah,
so, very easy to fall through, unfortunately.
One.
So it's been out, but it has been fixed. So we do have the option for Atlas coming back. We are gonna indeed go to the New Junk City next. So thoughts on New Junk City, Mido, while I update the map pool here?
Thoughts on New Junk City. I feel like Flashpoints are always like the weird map type, because you can kind of get away with running almost anything. It just kind of comes down to like a team's preference and what they're more comfortable playing. So I think this is probably going to be the best chance for Cerberus to, in this now back to 5v5 matchup, show what they're good at and what they're most comfortable with. Because when they were picking that Zarya, it did just kind of feel like, okay, we got to pick the Zarya here. They're running Zarya. It's just, you know, a call and response. Okay, you're gonna pick Zarya. I gotta pick Zarya. That's just how it goes right now. So if they do decide now to instead go something that maybe they were a little bit more comfortable, because they're, you know, we see really good Genji play, really good Ana. The Brig has been doing a really good job. It feels like everybody's been doing a good job for the most part. I just feel like maybe the tank has been lacking just a little bit on the side of Cerberus, and like I said, I think that's because they're just matching the Zarya. They aren't playing the Zarya, if that makes sense. A little philosophical, but maybe you get me.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of hero bans, we are going to see Paradise. They're going to be banning the Hanzo, maybe a little scarred from the Uncle Tone's performance at the end there when they were trying to dive him, getting those headshots. Yeah, I mean, New Jack City can definitely be very beneficial for Hanzo, though. We haven't really been seeing a lot of Hanzo in in higher tiers of play. Though this is not OWCS, so we can run whatever we want. And you know, whatever works for the team works, right? And it looks like Cerberus in response is going to ban the Zarya, so we will be seeing Paradise probably swap up their comp a little bit. Honestly, it is Flashpoint, so a lot of teams like to favor those rush comps as well, so I could definitely see that coming out from Paradise. Akioto is a sub tonight, Ringer. Unfortunately, Paradise's main starting tank player could not make it tonight, so I'm not sure of their hero pool exactly, so it'll be a bit of a mystery to see what they end up running out on.
Okay, that makes a little sense. I didn't know that part going in, but I was looking at the lineups and I was like, I don't see Akioto, to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. That makes a lot of sense. And you know what, thinking back to it, there were the moments where I said Akioto was a little overextended, and that might be attributed to the fact that they don't necessarily have the same plays going into it. They're doing a fantastic job though for just being a pickup, because it seems like the communication is still flowing. And again, on communication, talking about the IGL, Akioto probably isn't the IGL because they are the ringer. So honestly, Aegis is doing a pretty good job with the hand they've been dealt here, and Cerberus trying to make their way back into it as well. They did a pretty good job there, able to hold that first point on King's Row their second time around. I'm pretty excited to see what happens here in New Junk City.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have Lucio back, so Cerberus might have a better chance of keeping up with the tempo there, especially if they don't have a Juno player. I know a lot of teams they'll run the Wu Yang, the Juno, Lucio if they need speed and whatnot. But you know, I mean, if you don't have someone that plays those heroes, it could be kind of troublesome, especially in this current meta where it's very fast-paced, very high tempo. And if you can't have anyone there that like help dictate the tempo of your team and of the match overall, it's going to be a rough match.
I feel like that's always kind of been something that's lurking in the shadows. Speed in Overwatch is always very important. Doesn't matter if you're playing Poke, Rush, Brawl. You always want some kind of speed factor. You know, you of course want it for that dive and those rush comps, because you know you want to get in there. You want to fight as quick as possible. Those Poke comps, you want to be able to get away in case they start getting close to you. So I'm not. It's kind of surprising if you do see a team that doesn't have somebody who's like a really dedicated Lucio in some aspect, where it's like their number one hero or their number two hero. And then with the addition of Juno now being a pretty good, I guess, speedster to clarify them as, you have to well, you have to pick one of them. You can't have neither.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We do see both teams, they have their initial comps might swap here. We still have 15 seconds left to start. But we are going to see Akioto on that reset, and we're going to see Hawk back on the Bastion there, unbanned from the King's Row. So it's going to be a lot of damage coming out, especially on this first point here in the cage fight arena. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm sure it has an actual point name, but I'm calling it cage fight because it's a cage and it's a fight. So we'll see how that goes here. We see Mecha back here on the Rhine. So notoriously, Orisa does counter that Rhine here. So we'll see if Mecha can make that work. But I think with the combination of now Sojourn here and Venture, I'm not sure if that Rhine is really going to be the pick overall.
Yeah, and I will say, you know, Sigma's my favorite tank too. Orisa's my second favorite. So I'm pretty happy with how these matches are going. Brickwall finds a solid first pick here on RGB Mom. A good nade to follow it up, trying to go in on that Orisa, but unfortunately gets cleansed super quick there by Lumiere. Very good job by them. And now it looks like Aegis is going to be the first ones to take control of this point. The cage brawl, cage fight, or however the kids are calling these days.
Yeah, Cerberus, I think give credit where it's due. They did a really good job at, you know, making sure they were rotating around Akioto. They're trying to keep away from the damage that can get pumped out. Unfortunately, Paradise, you know, responded likewise. They came back. They made the rotations they needed and were able to get a fix onto that back line there.
trying to hold on to this space here. You see just this small choke, they're able to force themselves in here. A lot of healing going in onto this Orisa. So they're doing a good job there. And the thing is, this Ryan just cannot continue to push forward here. Mecha's forced to fall backwards because Hawk in that back, taking care of Popia, trying to remember how to pronounce it, but the Reaper will just say for now as I double check to make sure I pronounce it right. Puffles as well goes down, so it looks like this first point, not only was it captured by Aegis, but it seems like it will be completely taken now. And should be their first point. I don't know if anybody making there in time is a solid hit with the spear there, or the javelin.
Yeah, looks like Cerberus is going to go for the contest here. I believe Popia does make it onto the point here to get that OT spark, but they are going to go down right outside of the Wraith here. Becca getting very low from the Orisa here. Brick wall just pumping in that damage on Sojourn here. That's really probably the biggest detriment that Cerberus is having right now, is just the tons of damage just coming in from both Akioto and Brick wall here. We do see Paradise 4 ults, almost 5 here, just 3% off for Lumiere. You know, really big ult economy. If they're able to win the fights without using the ults, you know, better for them. They can stay those for, you know, overtime fights and do what they need to do. Cerberus, kind of down in the ult economy though. We do have a Shatter. Nothing to block it though, so we could be seeing a big Shatter coming out here soon, which would be fantastic to see. I always love a good Shatter. It looks like Becca does want to do it, but it is going to get really low and it is forced out here, as we already see Lumiere popping the Kiriko gates. We're going to see a Tectonic Shock coming out from Hawk as well here, as well as Akioto popping their ult, getting 4 picks overall across the entire team here. Mecha hitting out. Looks like Hawk trying to get a little bit of chase here, but Mecha is able to make it back to spawn. Still has their ult. A lot of ults used on the side of Paradise. I'm not sure if they needed to use all of them, but I mean, it worked here.
I was thinking a similar thing where I'm not quite sure if they needed to use them, but they did, and you know what? They won the team fight. That's what matters. And then, really, one thing I'm happy about for Cerberus is they only used the sound barrier, and that was just to see if they can make the sustain still happen. That guy has to be careful here, getting rushed down by this Orisa. And, you know, again, it's just pushing super far up. If they had any way to really punish this, they could just be like, that's the way they win this game here. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're able to do solid nade hits on Mecha here. They keep them up a little bit longer. Hawk, of course, able to make their way out as they tunnel into the ground like a little rat. They end up making out just fine here. 80% and counting. This is last fight territory. The Shatter makes its way through here. A solid nano as well. But man, oh, the Wu Yang goes down, but not before popping that ult. Mecha able to find another after that onto Hawk. I don't think that's going to be able to make themselves a comeback, but Mecha trying their darndest here on the line is absolutely insane right now. Able to do so much damage, and Puffle staying up here, giving the aid that they needed to stay alive. My goodness, they were able to do it.
Very big play by Mecha and Puffles indeed here. Yeah. Once I saw some of those ult spot by Paradise, I thought it might have been over Cerberus for that point at least, but yeah, they did a fantastic job with that nano, keeping Mecha up, waiting for the Shadow to come out. And speaking of Shadow, Mecha's 75% back to Shadow already, so you know, 1 or 2 fire strikes well placed can definitely get them back to 100 for another Shatter, and that might be just what they need to keep this fight going and keep them up for what they need to do here.
Going in, I mean, they're keeping it close quarters, they're trying to be the aggressors, but it's just not quite working out here. Hawk finds the first pick, and it seems like Brick Wall's gonna find the next, and now Aegis able to go in there with plenty of damage and an ult to follow it up. It seems like they're gonna take this point back, making them 2-0 so far, putting them on match, or not match point, map point.
Yep.
The other end.
Yeah. Really well played by Cerberus for that one fight there. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the ult charge that they needed right away. So that is, you know, it sucks, but I think, you know, they've played smart with some good Shatters. I'd honestly like to see maybe some Shatters coming out more. So great Javelin coming out here from Akioto onto RGB. Sorry, Columbia here. We do see a Shatter come out. Does get some picks for Claw. It's going to go down to Buffles. Yeah, I think a pin on, I didn't see who, I think it was the Paradise Yang player, Sabretooth. We are going to see Kiriko getting low here. Mecha trying their hardest to just kind of stay relevant on this point here. They are getting pins out, they are getting damage out, but unfortunately, you know, the rest of Cerberus went down early there, so they weren't able to stay and help. We do see Clopia using their Reaper outside of Wraith. it's honestly something I probably would have saved, knowing that the rest of my team is currently in spawn, but it's just, it looks like they do swap, so it looks like they may were just using it just to swap, just eats it.
Yeah, I was thinking that was going to happen just because the Reaper hasn't been getting too hot, and unfortunately we saw there before that fight really got to start, got stuck in that corner. Even when you're in your Wraith form, you know, it still happens sometimes. It's just not 100% avoidable. Brick wall in the backline a little bit here, and it seems like they're going to be fighting a two-front war as Aegis is able to take a couple different off angles. Mecha's going to be going down here, trying to match the Orisa. And now with that rifle ready and charged up, it seems like, yeah, they've won this next fight as well. Team kill here for Aegis. They should be able to have this map. I'd be surprised if they stay back and wait for them to push up. Rather, they should be taking over this space right now.
Looks like Cerberus is going to make the swap to the Doomfist, probably like to get that touch on point here, as we do see Mecha go straight for a point. They are going to get the overtime, but we actually do see the rest of Cerberus there joining on the team. They do flip it just temporarily, but both Mecha and Puzzles go down right away, leaving just RGB Mom as well as Shepler on point, both very low. Paradise flips it back real quick. Shepler's trying to stall, does go down. RGB Mom dash goes down as well, and that is going to be Paradise taking map 3, New Junk City here.
Yeah, so now it's going to be a 2-1 in favor of Aegis, and they're doing a pretty good job here determining when they want to take fights. The aggression sometimes does get a little bit worrisome. I really do feel like Cerberus, if they were able to pick up on that and get something that either could enforce some slow, I mean, really just the main in particular, I understand may not be the strongest character right now, but if you do put up that wall, that's going to have to be so much time spent on either the tank having to turn around and not fire at you, you can fire at that tank, you have to wait for the rest of their team to be able to break through that wall as well. It could be very helpful in this scenario. I feel like, you know, at least give it a try. You know, I'm saying that, but now they're going into a push, and I'm like, May doesn't really work on many of the push maps.
Yeah, the last push maps being identical, it's really easy to kind of get around on the high grounds that are there. I think Esperance is probably the most difficult. Like if you're coming from your spawn, there's only, I guess, I mean, from both sides, there's really only 2 ways to get onto the high ground. It's just really hero dependent on who you're playing. May unfortunately only has really one good option. Maybe, well, 2 depending on where the bot and where the other team is. But I mean, I've seen May work on push maps before.
Yeah, May definitely has. It feels a lot harder. So it's like, if it's not something they're used to playing again, just because it's been a while since May's been super prevalent, it feels like maybe something that would just be a good introduction May map where you have so many opportunities. Meanwhile, push, it does feel like there's a lot more of these open areas. But I mean, I don't think they're probably going to switch it at this point anyways. If that's not something they've practiced, it's not something they've done in scrims, don't bring it out now. This is just merely what can you take from this match at the end of the day, kind of what's the word I'm looking for here. Maybe lesson, but that doesn't feel quite right. But that's all I can think of, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to see, we are going to have some roster swaps coming out. We are going to see Sun going back in, Clopia coming out. Map pick is going to be Runasapi. We're still waiting on those hero bands here, but those should be coming out shortly here. In terms of hero bands, what do you think the teams are looking to ban? I want to say Cerberus gets first ban as they were the losing team. I mean, what do you think they're trying to ban here?
I don't think Sojourn's been banned. I'm thinking either Sojourn or maybe Venture. I think one of the DPS for sure. And then if we're looking at Aegis ban onto Cerberus, maybe I don't think the Ana's been banned. And I think Puffle's been doing a fairly good job on the Ana, so I think that would be just a solid, safe pick.
I agree. We are going to see Cerberus banning Venture here, just like you said, so definitely correct on that. I definitely agree with Ana. I think target banning Puffle's there. So far, we've only seen them play Ana. Haven't seen any of them on the other supports that at least I don't remember seeing them, unless it was maybe like a quick swap. But yeah, I think for Paradise, it's probably going to be an Ana ban. That's what I would do. That's my prediction. And normally I would say maybe ban the tank, but I'm not really struggling with Mecha Rhine here. So especially when they have options of Zarya and Orisa, Akiota's been doing a really great job on both those heroes. So yeah, still waiting on their ban. So definitely time for a surprise. But I agree. I think Ana's probably likely the next ban.
We've seen Aegis, they've run Wu Yang, or they've run the Kiriko. I believe they did have a brig themselves, at least for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. And then Lucio's still going to be in play. Someone I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen yet is Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver, I really think can show up, especially when the other team has an Ana. Being able to have that minor perk where you're able to cleanse stuff, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, well, while we wait on the lobby here, we'll take a quick break. I believe there might be an ad break coming up for some people. So we'll take a quick break here. We'll be right back with the maybe the final map. We are on map point for Paradise here. Cerberus still has 2. It could be anyone's game, as we saw earlier. But we'll see you back just very shortly. Welcome back, everyone, to the Marmoris Rainbow Open Season 4 Midnight Division. We are doing the Imperial Phoenix Cerberus versus Paradise Aegis matchup. Right now, it is 2-1 in favor of Paradise Aegis. We're going into map 4 push. It's going to be Runasapi. Paradise did end up banning Ana, like we were talking before. And there was, what was it? Cerberus banned Venture. Yeah, so both predicted 100% success rate for this map. We'll see how it ends up playing out. Sometimes people call us professionals, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I have in fact, done this a few times before. I can't lie.
Only a couple. Yeah.
Only a couple times over like maybe 3 or 4 years is whatever.
Ready for battle.
It wasn't always Overwatch though. I'm a bit of an odd case. I jumped between every single game you could think of.
I don't even know how I would cast League. Like, you did League, you did Valorant, Overwatch. Did you do Rocket League too?
I did do Rocket League, not the last semester, just because I was working in the lab as well at the time. So yeah, and I do lab work. I'm pretty well-rounded, and I also eat a lot, which is why. But that's besides the point. We're back in it. Runasapi.
I'll keep you on your feet.
Yeah. Both teams, just making their way towards spot here, making their way downtown, walking fast.
Face is fast.
Thank you. I mean, Cerberus looking the push real hard on the Akioto here, maybe get some early damage out, maybe get a quick pick, but it looks like they are going to be forced back a little bit. Paradise is going to start control the bot, but not quite pushing anywhere yet. But, as I say, that Akioto is going to get 2 picks right off the bat here. Mecha getting very low here. Brickwall looking to finish off. Maybe we'll say they get a quick railgun, but it looks like Mecha is going to be out and he'll back up here. But Akioto getting that pick on the Uncle Dome. They're just pushing way far in here. Definitely very confident in being able to stay up and have that sustain coming out from their supports.
And I think it's also a fact of they're not having to worry about even the sleep at this point. I think the sleep is the only thing, and maybe the bionic grenade as well, that was holding them back from continuing to go in more and more and more. And right now they've realized that they're like, okay, there is literally nothing to be afraid of as long as the communication is flowing. We know when I need to get healed. We know when I need bubbles. Speaking from the point of Akioto, by the way, and they're just able to take as many angles as they want to. We could see half the team was pushing the bot, the other half was with Akioto, being able to provide support where it needed to be. Mecha making the swap over to Hog, maybe try to get a cheeky hook here. It's a solid grab, be able to get both the supports and take them out right away. My goodness, this is a snowball.
Yeah, definitely. Cerberus, I mean, they're struggling here. Paradise is being very, very aggressive here. We don't often see a lot of teams get this aggressive, especially on a push map. But Paradise has been doing a great job at winning that first fight and just using that momentum to just take space and keep the space filled and get their push in. I mean, they've already passed the halfway point of their push. They're marching into the spawn. But as I said, Akioto is going to go down. Uncle Tone is going to get picked by Brickwall as well here. The Ultra being popped. We are going to see RGB Mom go down. That's a very nice shot by Brickwall there. We are going to see the Wu Yang ult coming out. I missed it, unfortunately, so I didn't see who it stunned, but Puffles is going to go down. Shapular is going to go down as well. Sorry, Puffles was up, made a hero swap, but it looks like Cerberus is going to temporarily take control back of the spot and start their push back in the other way. It's going to be really hard fought, especially as Paradise has that early spawn.
That's a solid pick right there on the brick wall. That should allow them to push up a little bit farther without having to worry about that much damage coming through. Here's one of the bubbles is down. Both of the bubbles are down. They have to be quick about this. Now's your chance to pick off that Zarya. Akioto's still staying up fairly far despite that being the case. Shackler going up a bit too much themselves, however, gets them taken out. And now you're in a bit of more of a losing position here for Cerberus. They may want to just fall back and try to regroup. And I don't think that's going to be able to happen for them.
Paradise did a great job at cutting the Cerberus push there. Just like you said, having both those bubbles out that was the chance to take out Akioto and keep that push going. But unfortunately, Akioto and their supports did a great job at kiting and just you know, keeping the sustain up here. Paradise is going to take quick control back onto that bot and just keep pushing here. This is a little bit of a hard show here. We are going to see a Dragons coming out from Tone here. We are going to get near picks by that. So that is going to force Paradise to back up, especially as Brick Wall also goes down as well. We'll see if Cerberus can keep that push going, much like Paradise did in the first couple fights of this map here. But I mean, the early spawn, that's going to be their biggest issue here. They do get a nice hook onto Akioto. They are going to use the Hog ultimate here. The grab coming out. Yeah, huge.
That grab ultimately saves that fight for them there. I mean, dead for right, Akioto was there. The grab comes through. They're in a weird position. Everybody else is starting to run back. They're able to take over that fight yet again, and now that bot pushing back up, they're going to be able to get that close spawn yet again. Oh man, this is gonna be tough here. We see the change over to a Life Weaver that might be able to help out quite a bit, just in case something like that were to happen again. However, looking at what they have coming up, what you're waiting to see here is the ult coming through from Sabretooth or even Hawk to try to get that pull, give that little few seconds of invincibility to hopefully try to save that one.
Yeah, definitely. We do see Mecha looking for Brick Wall here, but Akioto is going to come to the defense. You have that bubble ready if needed, but not needed. Brick Wall is able to slide out here. Just kind of waiting. Both teams looking for ults to come out here, but we are going to see the overclock coming out from Brick Wall. Not making any quite yet, but we did see a really great overclock earlier in the match. We see Shapeler pulling away Uncle Ted. It's a really great defensive pull here, just saving himself what could have been a quick unfortunate hit. We are going to see the Wu Yang come out with a Hawk. They are going to stun one of the Cerberus supports. No one goes down from it, but Mecha is going to go down. Shapeler's going to go down shortly after that. We're going to see Archie's mom. And no touch coming out from Cerberus.
Oh no, that was, I feel like, the most dominant map yet. We didn't really get to see like that little bit of breathing room that Cerberus did get. They tried to push up, they tried to take that space. To be fair, what they needed to do, but we can see here they always seem to have an answer on the side of Aegis. They were, this time they got to throw out the grab. The other times it was just, good regrouping. And ultimately, I think that's what's kind of made them come out on top was their planning, their strategy when going into fights, or kind of like fixing, being a little bit more impromptu in the moment sort of feels there with like, oh, they're all pushed up here, I'm gonna grab everybody as quick as possible, get here quick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's probably one of the fastest push maps we've seen in the tournament so far out of all the stream matches. I can't speak for any ones that we haven't streamed. I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job in getting a lot of these matchups here for everyone's viewing pleasure, so hopefully everyone's enjoying that. But yeah, just like you said, very dominant, very aggressive, it was very quick. I think they probably finished that in like 4 minutes or less.
I think it was almost 5, if not about 5, yeah.
So, definitely very well played by both teams. Paradise making that comeback after having some DC problems from their tank. Quite all right there. Cerberus, they're definitely trying their hardest there, making a lot of good plays. And not entirely a role there. Definitely things to work on for Cerberus if they're looking the face out against Paradise coming up in future Swiss rounds and the playoffs. But I mean, they did well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, looking at the different maps, going through those and being able to see, I feel like every player was able to come out with just some kind of highlight or some kind of just like very good play that they made. Thinking back to the Puffles sleep, and honestly Puffles was just being pretty consistent the whole time. Mecha going through there and hitting a solid shatter when we were at the push with New Junk City. RGB Bomb able to get quite a few dashes as well. So Cerberus, despite losing, still coming out here with a lot of small victories at least. Aegis, though, I mean, they still able to come out on top because they were just the more consistent team the whole time, and that really is, I think, what just kind of put them above today.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately for you guys and us, that is going to be our only Overwatch match for tonight. So we will be saying a goodbye. if you want to catch more matches, see when we're going live, when matches are happening, you can follow Marmor's Esports on Twitch, Twitter. I believe they have a website, which should be marmors.gg. That's definitely linked in the Discord. I know that.
I'm checking right now for you. I'm checking right now.
Thank you. If you want to follow our casters, I don't know, Mito, if you're on Twitter or X or whatnot a ton these days, but you can definitely follow me at Saxoblock. Mito, if you have something you'd like to plug, definitely now is the time.
Oh gosh, let me think. X/Twitter, what is it? It's MitoPHC. I think on Instagram, I still haven't used it yet, but also should be MitoPHC. Twitch, MitoPHC. Yeah, basically it's probably MitoPHC if you're wondering.
Definitely. All right, everyone. Thanks for sticking around, watching the match. I hope you had a good time, and everyone have a good night, and we will see you for the next tournament match. Hopefully looking to do a Sunday night. It should be Arcanauts vs Aquarius again. Midnight Division only has 4 teams, so we're going to see a lot of the same matchups coming through. But last match was a 3-2. Very great match, very long, but it's definitely worth watching. A lot of very great plays, a lot of very competitive gameplay coming out there. So we'll see if Aquarius can get the revenge, take the win over Arcanauts here. But only one way to find out. Tune into the stream Sunday night. Looking, I want to say around 6 p.m. Eastern, I think is the current scheduled time. It might change anytime between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern. I do know a couple teams in the tournament are playing in the Watch Over Palestine tournament, charity tournament, so definitely go check that out if you're interested in watching some more great gameplay. I believe they're going into their playoffs soon, coming up in the next week. But outside of that, we will see you next time. I've been Saxoblock.
And I have been Mito. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Have a good night.